Very important and very beautiful verse, as you know, we chant it all together every time. You should know the significance of it. So what it means is that for us to see this very subtle truth, there needs to be a combination of two people. In a way, kind of like, you're rubbing two pieces to create fire. I don't know, it just occurred to me, but what it's saying is that a lot of effort has to be put in by a teacher, and a lot of effort has to be put in by the student. Both of them have to put in some extraordinary effort, not an ordinary effort. And if they do, something amazing can happen. And they need to get together and not let anything else get in the way. Ma vid vishabhai means that let there not be any misunderstanding, any lack of trust with each other. If that happens, then amazing things can happen. And it's necessary that, so this includes so many things. I need to have respect for you as individuals, that you are somebody special, you have your unique issues, and I need to honor them, to respect, understand it. And you need to do the same thing for the teacher, that there is a sincere effort, there is some knowledge, and so this needs to, so this is a very important thing that we, before each one of them. So the Ishvara kind of blesses a process where this happens, and it aids it, it helps the process as well, and blesses it if that happens. So the Sahana Bhavatu is an important one. Okay, so our second topic is what does really truth mean? When we talk about, yes, this is true, what does it mean? So, in the Laukika world, Laukika means the everyday experiences of our world. In that world, truth and untruth have a dual state. Either something is true or it is not true. Okay? And it's very black and white. Very simple. Okay. We all know, but, are you telling me the truth? Yes. Okay. Or this is a lie. You know, what Pakistan is saying about this is a lie. This is untrue, that they have no connection. True, absolute lie. So what is truth and what is untruth is all very clear in the Laukika world. In the Shastrika world, the truth and untruth has a different meaning. So instead of having a dual meaning, there is a triple meaning. There is something which is called true, something which is not true, and something in between. So in that sense, the Laukika truth is not truth. You know, the Acharyas gave this example. Swami Maheshanandi had given this very beautiful example. He said, you know, supposing you have a rupee note. Obviously, his example is that, but it actually applies better to rupee than to a dollar. Supposing you have 100 rupee note. Is this true or not true? Well, it is true. I mean, this is what happens. You take 100 rupee note and these people kind of look at it and they can say, no, this is fake. Or, yeah, we'll accept it. So it is true. But it is very conditionally true. Very conditionally true. Because you take it to outside to, this is what happens to me. For the first time, I came, it didn't happen to me, but I remember this. The very first time I traveled, in fact, the very first time I got on a plane was when I was 23, when I was accepted by Berkeley. And the feeling of that thing was just absolutely amazing. You are now leaving the world that you are in. Completely different. And I remember getting into the plane, and that was just amazing. Then my first stop, which was just a refueling stop, was Rangoon in Myanmar, in that time Burma. I tell you what a feeling it was. You could not recognize any people that they were talking, you could not recognize. What they looked, what they were wearing, you couldn't recognize. More importantly, if you have 100 rupee note, you'll say, what is this? This is not, we won't accept it. So the truth of the note is highly conditional. This is not true. The Vedantic truth is real truth, which is called Sat. And so the definition of Sat is unconditional truth. Doesn't matter whether it is Indian rupee or whatever it is, there is something that nothing can be negated. The Laukika truth can be negated, but the Shastrika truth cannot be negated. And then the only question you were saying, is there something like that? That's a separate matter, we will discuss that. But at least look at the fundamentals of truth and untruth very purely. Truth means one which cannot be untrue under any circumstances. This is called Sat. And the Asat example I already gave you, which is a square circle, which is not possible at all. In the old days, the classical example was Vandyaputra, the son of a barren woman. Those who apply don't apply now because you can have all these IVFs and so on and so forth. So the pure example is a square circle, and is Asat. The rest of it is also conditionally true but not really true. This is called Mithya. So Mithya is a very technical word. Mithya is a very technical word. It is not, people give it examples that this is called illusion. It's not illusion. It is a very specific word with technical definition which we will now see. It is very much like mouse. The mouse is a very technical word. There are two kinds of mice. One is the one that gets into our closets and eats our fruits. And the other one is this one that you move around. So if you are in the computer field, mouse doesn't mean that mouse, it means this mouse. So the mouse is a very technical word. Right? There is a Sanskrit word for technical. I forget what that is. It's be interesting, I forget it. But it's a technical word. So mithya is a technical word. So what does it mean? What do you mean by technicality? So it has two levels of technicality. Okay? So please see this. The first level is, and this is why I have to tell you that these are the jigsaw puzzles pieces that really will not make sense until they are interrelated. So the mithya is related to other things which will become clearer later. But I still have to give you some pieces, so it is somewhat incomplete, but let's go with it. So what it means is, mithya normally is translated as something which is neither sat nor asat, something in between. And the typical example given is that of jewelry pieces. So if you look at a jewelry piece like a ring, then the word ring and the utility of ring, the form of ring, form and the name of ring is mithya. How is it mithya? Because what it says is that in order for a vastu to be real, it must be non-dependent. You cannot say, so in the case of a jewelry piece, the weight of the ring is the weight of the gold. If the ring is a true separate vastu, then it would have its own weight and the gold will have its own weight. But that's not the case. So the ring, it takes its weight from the gold, borrows it. It takes the luster of itself from the gold. So what is a ring? Well, it is simply a temporary form with a certain utility. You can wear it on your finger and feel good about it. Wedding ring. Anyway, let's not go into that. So this is the technical one which appears to be true. So this is a good way to look at it. So this is in Chandogya Upanishad, Vacharambanam Namadheyam Mrittika Ityeva Satyam. Namadheyam. Namadheyam means just for the sake of transactions. You cannot say, please give me that, that piece of gold that, he said, what are you talking about? Tell me very clearly. The one that you can put on your finger, that gold. Are you talking about the ring? I guess that's what it's called. There's no transaction like you cannot go to somebody and say, give me a piece of gold that kind of looks like this. It is much better to say, I want a ring. What kind of a ring do you want? Golden or silver? Golden. Done. Now we can transact. So it has some value. The word ring has a value. But the value is very effervescent. You can, if the ring breaks, the gold doesn't break, but the ring breaks. A ring normally doesn't break, but some other golden things can happen. So really the mithyatvam of a ring, of any, or for coffee cups and so on and so forth, is the technical word which is neither true, and you cannot say it is untrue. Because you see it, you use it, you wear it, so you cannot say it is untrue. You cannot say it is true because it doesn't satisfy the definition of truth, unconditionality. So there is a third state in our understanding, which is called mithya. And so there's a couple of references from the Bhagavad Gita, you can see this. So if you look at this 28th verse of the second chapter, 2:28. I mean, all over. See, this is the thing. Once you know these basic points, you can go to anywhere in the Gita. I just picked out a few of them. Avyaktani nidhanani eva. Avyakta nidhanani eva. Sorry. I think it is. Yeah, I am sorry. Half of it is here. Avyaktani bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhanani eva tatra ka paridevana. So he says one that was not there, and it is there for a short amount of time, and it's going to disappear. Why are you wailing about it, my dear Arjuna? Why? It is mithya. Every human being is a mithya. Because at one time it was not there. It is there for a short time, and it is going to disappear. This is not the truth. Look for the truth, not for mithya. It's kind of like a balloon that is going to burst. So it's okay to enjoy it, but this is the thing, if you look at, you say, oh, this is just a balloon. Is that a balloon for a child? We used to, my son, I don't remember which it was, so he gave them 2 balloons. They were gas balloons. I tell you, the kids had so much fun on them. It is unbelievable. I was just looking at them saying, what a wonder. And if one of them breaks, their life is over. Completely. So really speaking, this is what we are doing in our life. We are hanging on to balloons and saying, maybe this should not be burst. Other balloons can be burst, but not this one. You are a seer of the balloon. So it bursts. It was your balloon, yes, no doubt about it. But, this is what Adi Shankara once told his mother. He told his mother. His mother was not a Vedantin, was not a wise person. And her son was, of course, my God. What a person. So she was talking about it, I'm sorry you're going to go away, and this time, whatever it was. So he gave a lecture to his mother. He said, Mom, do you know how many sons you've had in your life, in your previous life? Do you have any idea? How many daughters? How many sisters, brothers? Where are they now? You're still there. They're gone. I'll be gone. You'll still be there. Why do you worry about me? There's no reason to wail. So this is exactly, it says, Tatra ka paridevana. Paridevana means it's just like the child's balloon is broken and you say, what happened? Why are you crying? My balloon is broken. Okay, so it was just a balloon, but no, it's my balloon. This is called paridevana. This is what he's saying. Then in the 15th chapter, the third one, the third verse, Narupamasya tatopalabhyate nanto nachadir nacha sampratishtha ashvattamenam suviruda moolam asanga shastrena dridena chitva. He says, this world, the thing that you see, your children, your spouses, your friends, when did they begin? There is no knownness. When they began, you have no idea. Where are they going to go, you have no idea. This kind of it looks very solid, pakka. This is my life. And what makes it very solid, this is going to come later on, but I'm just going to bring it in for this time, is because I wake up the next day and people still seem the same. Everything seems the same. So it looks like it's very real. It is not. A very good example of that we will see is a dream. But last night it was very interesting. I woke up with a dream. It was fascinating. Fascinating. Honestly, it was just so great. So the dreams take some portions from recent examples. And just before coming here, my wife and I, we are almost never separated. We are always together, wherever we go and so on. And in any case, she doesn't ever stay in the home separately. I may stay, she might go visit someplace, but she doesn't know how to operate the alarm. There's a lot of things that she does. She realized, oh my God, this guy is going to be gone for a week and I don't know this and I don't know that. So she sat with me and said, okay, tell me how you did this. How did you do that? And this, that, she all that. So last night's dream. This is a very real dream. I just had it. In this dream, there was this woman who was saying, have you looked into that? So I'm looking and saying, I think I did. No, but have you looked into this? You haven't explained it. This is a real dream, honestly. And I'm getting irritated. Why are you asking me all these things? Because you should be knowing all this and so on. This is real, I'm telling you. I had this dream. I'm not lying. It was phenomenal. I wake up and I say, oh my goodness. Gone. But while I was there, this is a great discussion in the Karika of the Mandukya, which will come later on for our Saturday morning class, where questions about the reality of Jagrat Avastha and the non-reality of Swapna Avastha is discussed at great length and said, no, you have a wrong idea. When you are in the dream, you are just as bothered as you were in the real life if that had happened to you. And so it wasn't that my wife was bothering me, but she was asking me for some details, but somehow or the other in the dream, that became an irritation for me. So why is she asking me all this? And then there were some other things about how I was fixing some problems in the home and strange things going on. All this happened, I tell you, I was so happy. Normally when you get up, you don't remember anything. But when this happens, when you wake up with something like this, I feel very happy, honestly. Because I can visualize how real it was. And so the Shastra is absolutely right. So going back to this narupamasya tatopalabhyate, it looks very solid. By the way, one example, one definition of the word Upanishad. So Upanishad is Upa, Ni and Shad. And so forget about the prefixes, let's look at the word Shad. So in that, the dhatu, there are three meanings. One of them, and Swami Dayanandji explained this very well for a long time until we really got it, is what is called Shithalikaranam. Shithalikaranam. What is Shithalikaranam? Shithalikaranam means loosening of something is called Shithalikaranam. So I remember this, I think Swamiji also had given this example and I've also given it. Like, supposing you are these people that dig previous long, what is it called?
Archaeologists.
Archaeologists, sorry. It's all leaving me, all slowly, all gone. And it doesn't bother me, it's okay, fine. Archaeologists have this where they find something which looks like a metal or something like this. So they call their manager and say, hey, I do this and it looks like a sound making and so on and so forth. So what they do is they see if it can be loosened. And if it can be loosened as a separate piece, then yes, it's worth. Or if it is just kind of like a stone which is a part of the earth or something like this, then you forget it. This is called loosening. The Upanishad loosens the hold of the word on me. The word looks very real, unshakable. Unshakable. What are you talking about? What unreal? I've got problems, I'm trying to solve them. Where are we talking about reality and unreality? Unreal. It's so unreal that your problems while you are here don't get transferred into the dreams. And the dream also, by the way, I'm discovering, I'm not an expert, but if you sleep for like 8 hours, most of it is dreaming. The real sleep where you have is very little. I'm really disappointed to know that, but it's true. And oftentimes, it's interesting, I wake up in a worse shape than I went to sleep. Yeah, my mind is, and it used to bother me a lot, but it doesn't bother me now because I now understand what is happening. Because in the dream, you have no control over. Here I have control, you're being nice to me, I'm being nice to you. We drink coffee, everything is, I don't let any problems get to me. I'm in control. In the dream, it's chaos. You have no idea what goes on. And when you wake up, I feel, my God, what happened? When I went to sleep, I was so nice and quiet. I was happy that our team won, everything is okay. What happened? What happens is that you live in a life of unreality. And so you have to see that it was unreal. Then it just takes a minute or so, just a couple of deep breaths, gone. You're yourself again. So don't tell me that this is unshakable. But what shakes it is Upanishad. That is the value of Shastra, really. Okay, so this is a technical definition of mithya at this stage.
I think the word you were looking was paribhasik.
Sorry?
Paribhasik or technical?
Paribhashik. Yeah, the technical one is called paribhashik. Yeah.
What is pratibhasik?
No, this is paribhashik.
Paribhasha is definition.
Finish your definition, yeah. Pratibhasa is different. We'll come to Pratibhasa later on. So anyway, what I wanted to say was that there are two levels of understanding Vidya. One is a relatively simple method of understanding Vidya, which we have now done. There is a more deeper, more true meaning of Mithya that will come a little later on. I won't introduce it at this time, but I am pretty sure if I haven't done it, please remind me and I will go over that later. So, this is number 2. Okay, now let's go to number 3. Superimposition and removal. Adhyaropa apavada. So this is very, all these are very important. I shouldn't say this is very important, this is very important. But what about the other ones? They were not important. Everything is important. But this Adhyaropa apavada is a very key part of what the Shastra is presenting to us. So Adhyaropa means something which is imposed on you, it is not you. So it's interesting. Aropa, so Adhyaropa consists of a prefix Adhi and Aropa. Those of us from India understand what Aropa means. Aropa means a false accusation. In Hindi we used to say, "आप मेरे पे आरोप क्यों लगा रहे हैं? ऐसे फालतू आरोप लगा रहे हैं, मैंने नहीं किया ये सब कुछ." So that means Aropa. Aropa means a kind of a false accusation. So this is also a little bit more technical. Adhi Aropa means, in a way, I am accusing myself unnecessarily. And I'm accusing myself because I don't know any better. It's not as though that I know that I'm truthful, but I just pretend that I'm not. No. But nevertheless, I am blaming myself. So this happens very normally, that I really don't have any problems, but I think I do. And so I feel bad about it. And I feel ownership for it. And then I try to deal with it in one form or the other. So this can also be looked at as an Adhyaropa. But I think more than that, the Adhyaropa means that Again, this is the lack of doing Nitya and Anitya Viveka. It's all connected. You will see this. This is what I'm saying, that it looks all separate. But once we do the whole thing, you will see that it's all different forms of the same thing. So Adhyaropa means what? From the standpoint of Nitya, Anitya, Aviveka. This is also called Hridaya Granthi. This will come later on. Hridaya Granthi, the knots of the heart. And that is also where Chaitanya and Jada are all mixed up. Nitya and Anitya are mixed up. It's all mixed up. I don't look at it as a mithya. This is what happens. I don't see it's something like, supposing somebody is very attached to a ring, a wedding ring. And you don't think about anything else. This is the important thing. So there it is said, please do the Viveka. It is Anitya. It is not Nitya. The Nitya in that example is the gold. We'll get you another one. It's gold. No, I want that particular one. So the Adhyaropa Apavada Adhyaropa means that you are unnecessarily superimposing something on yourself. This is also like cataract. So this but the example there will be different, because we know when our eyesight goes bad. And so we don't accuse ourselves, but we feel that something is not, I'm not seeing clearly. But it is an adhyaropa. It's an aropa, because cataract is not your real nature. It's something that is covering. Anyway, just to close off this topic, Shastra says, are you listening to me, please? So we say yes. The entire experience of the world, your so-called life, is an adhyaropa on your Atma. An adhyaropa. It is because you have not done the Nitya and Anitya Viveka. You are mixing two things that cannot be mixed. Cannot be mixed. And this is where Maya plays a part. It makes things look real when they are not real. This is the Shakti, Ajnana Shakti, really. So what is Maya from a kind of a cosmic standpoint? Maya is also our inability to see something clearly, which is Ajnana. So from a Vyashti standpoint, what is Ajnanam becomes, from a Samashti standpoint, Maya. It's the same thing. It's the same. My inability we're getting two things mixed up. And fortunately, the mix-up is not a real one. It is just like a simple operation, and it just, once you see that it is just the covering on me, you are okay. You are very happy.
So would you say Vidya and Maya is same?
Vidya and Maya, Vidya is a result of Maya. Vidya is a result of Maya. Yeah. They're not exactly the same thing, but they are,
I got it.
yeah. Alright, so I'll just leave it at that at this point. All of these things, when we start putting them together, we will revisit them. So let's leave it at that. Let's go to the next level, next topic, which is called degrees of reality. Okay, degrees of reality. So here, please see that the Sat that we spoke of earlier, Paramarthikasti Sat, can now be seen to be in a way that creates the Vidya. And that has 3 levels, not just one. So the original level is called Paramarthika Sat. Paramarthika Sat means real Sat, total Sat. Sat, you remember the definition of Sat, which is unconditionally true. That is Paramarthika Sat. But it turns out that in the transaction of the world, that Paramarthika Sat has 2 other forms. Those are Pratibhasika Sat and Vyavaharika Sat, called subjective reality and objective reality. So if you were to do an English translation, it will be Pratibhasika will be subjective reality, Vyavaharika will be objective reality, and Paramarthika will become total or original or real reality. Okay. So what happens is that if you look at how our life is, each one of us has our own personal reality. The way we view things, how we evaluate them, very, very subjective. Very subjective. So a typical example of that is mental illness, where people are depressed and they feel bad about themselves. I mean, this is becoming a major problem these days. My God, we don't have enough doctors. This is an epidemic, and it's really getting worse because of cell phones and people, all kinds of issues, especially when you are young. So they have their own reality. And so to the focus to belong to someone. I know people don't like me. Why are you getting dressed this way? Because I have to be something special. This is all subjective reality. The parents say, no, you're a wonderful person. No. But my friends don't like me. All these kinds of things is what is called Pratibhasika Sat. Then comes objective reality. The objective reality is where you have a certain idea of who you are, and the others have the idea of who you are. I'm a male. Others think also I'm a male. I am 5'6" tall. Others also know that. This is called objective reality. So this is what is called Vyavaharika Sat. Vyavahara means transactions. So transactions are based on, generally on things that you can see, evaluate about me, and things that I see about you. And so we both agree on it. We have some differences, but those are manageable. But you don't have this strain. Of course, there is an overlay of the Pratibhasika Sat on the Vyavaharika Sat. Because, the typical example is that supposing there is a woman, everybody looks at that woman differently. If you have a daughter, she would look at you differently. If you have a competitor, she would look at you differently. Your husband is a different way, etc., etc. So, there is an objective reality. You know that this is a woman, but how you look upon her depends a little bit on the overlay of the Pratibhasika Sat. So there is a interplay between them as well. Okay? And all of this is happening in the presence of Paramarthika Sat. Very interesting. The Paramarthika Sat is Sakshi Rupam, Atma Swarupam. And it is so interesting that both the Pratibhasika Sat and Vyavaharika Sat cannot be without Paramarthika Sat. But the Paramarthika Sat can be without Vyavaharika Sat and Pratibhasika Sat. It can be. And how that is the case, we will see a little bit more clearly later. But that is kind of the three-level relationship of the type of Sat that is presented. And of course, what happens is that this is, again going back to remember the nature of Vedas and Vedanta, and that we have talked about earlier. This is the way the whole creation is. No one's created it specially. No one created the problems for you. You didn't create the problem, but this is the way it is. Just let's look at it. Let's not try to put a cause on it. Is it Ishvara? Is it Jiva? Is it this, that? Whatever it is, don't do it because there is no end to it. It won't lead to anything. Useless. Then what is useful? This is a very important question. What is useful? If you say this is the way it is, what is the Western way? What cannot be cured must be endured. Remember? This has a new meaning. This is how language changes. When we were young, we used to say, what cannot be cured must be endured. You know what the new one is? It is what it is. Actually, I like this better. You don't have these long ones, cured, endured. But it is very beautiful. Everybody, they say, it is what it is. So this is not what we are talking about. Don't accept problems as it is. What it is, do not look for any one cause that will solve it, except for understanding the viveka between Paramarthika Sat, Pratibhasika Sat and Vyavaharika Sat. Doing the viveka between Nitya and Anitya. In fact, I would say this. I don't even know who that is, but I should really just cannot be from my family because they all know there is a class going on. Somebody else. So, this is another very important truth to know. Given that this is the way it is, which we are going to expand on quite a bit, what to do? Is it cannot be cured, must be endured? It's not the way Vedanta says. What it says is the following. If you are absorbed in things that are drishya, that are known to you, which appear for you. If you are involved in the world of drishya, you may have a lot of problems. If you don't have problems now, they will come later. That is the nature of the problems. Drishya has a nature of problem. But there is a way out. An examination of drik, the seer of the drishya, is very fruitful, very pleasant, and ends in total beauty and ananda. Now I can give that example of the question that I had sent to my Saturday students, which was instigated by something that I had read from Swami Vivekananda's book. Very beautiful thing. So the question that I asked everybody is, why are there so many problems in life? And I made a mistake to say, why did Ishvara create all the problems? Okay, so people basically replied from the standpoint of Ishvara. But really this is true, whether Ishvara did it or not, but we see some huge problems in our life. So, all these killings and so on and so forth. So, if you are a non-Vedantin, how would you react to it? With confusion, uncertainty, that we can be gone any minute. We have examples of that. A perfectly healthy person dies. I mean, is there some justice in the world? What is going on? This is what a non-Vedantin would say, isn't it? It's very natural. If somebody were to ask you, if someone were, and I do get asked by family members and so on, what do you think about this? I can't tell them the real answer, because they won't understand. So what I do is I'll say, well, and usually what happens is we talk about karma. Old karmas and new, it's okay, it'll be all right, and so on. So, this is the thing. For a Vedantin, this is an important signal. This is called linga. This is an important linga. Problems are a linga, where it means do not safety from all this. Do it quickly, because you don't get in. You don't want to get involved in drishya before the drik is clear, because otherwise you'll have to go through this whole rebirth and so on and so forth. So don't wait for it. Just see. Swami Khandananda says that the huge problem, major problems, small problems don't bother us, but huge problems are a great opportunity for us to double down. If it is not there, then you are lost. But it is there. Paramarthika Sat, it is there. Look into it. So that is the anyway. So that's the degree of reality and so on and so forth. Okay, let's do one more. I think 4 more minutes to go. This is called the conditioning agent Upadhi. So this also is a very important element to the understanding. So the Upadhi also consists of 2 sections, Upa and Adi. Upa and Adi. And we've already talked about this in the Saturday class, so it'll be repetition for you. So Adi means trouble, some kind of a problem. Or you can say even something which is undesirable, just and so on. And also you can say something which is a distortion. That is a good, better word. It's a distortion. May not be a problem, but it's a distortion, not reality. Upa means something very close by. So combine those two. Upadhi means something that has the ability to create a condition by being very near me. That would be a complete definition, right? So, typical example given in the Shastra is that of a crystal which by itself is colorless, but has the ability to take on the color of a nearby object which is colorful. So if you take a flower next to a red flower next to a crystal, the crystal will appear to be red. You take that away and put a blue object, it will appear to be blue. So the blue and the red are upadhis. Here, very interestingly, Swami Khandananda says that, he gives this example that suppose in India, that supposing you see some pile of things left over, क्या कहते हैं उसको? Just things that are, that are thrown away and so on. Kooda karkat. And you see that in India all over the place. If you see something a little bit away from you, you're not bothered by it. But supposing somebody, hopefully not your neighbor, he's taken the kooda karkat from him and puts it right next to your door, you cannot sleep that night. You have to get that done completely. Can I tell you a funny story? It's really interesting. Come from this. It might take a couple of minutes, more minutes. So when I was working for HP, there was a sales manager that used to work with me, for me, from Atlanta, Georgia. So we were, my wife and I had moved into this new home, And we invited all the groups to come in, and they were really admiring the home and so on and so forth. And I was telling them that I have so many problems with my lawn because these gophers, they eat the lawn and so on. So he says, "Can I tell you a real story?" I said, "Sure." He said, "In Atlanta, I have a very big property, in my home, and I have so many gophers, you can't believe." So he said, "I decided I don't want to kill them, I'll just capture them, and I keep capturing them." Huh? What's that? So I keep capturing them and putting them. Then what I do is I put it in the back of my car, and I go to some remote places and so on and just leave them. So he says, I've been doing that for a few times and so on. One day, he was a member of a Rotary Club of Atlanta, and there was some discussion going on. So this guy said, "There is some problem on my property. Somebody is leaving these gophers on my property." He said, "Let me tell you something. I'm a gun owner. If I ever capture, I'm not going to kill the gopher, I'm going to kill him." He said, from that day onwards, I said, "I am not touching these gophers." Really, this is a real story. I couldn't believe it. So, the upadhi is exactly like that. Upadhi is exactly like that. If anybody else has a problem and so on, it doesn't worry me. But if I have a problem close to me, I can't live with it. So now the upadhis can be expanded into lots of different things. So the upadhi should be considered to be doing the following. The upadhi makes something look differently by its mere presence close to me. This is the definition. Right? And now when we meet again this evening, we will complete this. What is the effect of the upadhi on me? How does that happen? And close this topic off. So this is the topic of upadhi, which is a very important part of how I behave, how life appears to me, and so on and so forth. So we'll go on. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya